Come with us on a journey as we talk with leaders across the community sector and understand what they've been doing through the COVID-19 pandemic. Aged care is clearly right at the epicenter of the challenges around the COVID-19 pandemic. So it was fascinating to talk with Elizabeth Drozd from Australian Multicultural Community Services as they have wrestled and conquered the challenges to do with this pandemic. Elizabeth, CEO of AMCS, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, welcome.
How are you doing in this strange time, Elizabeth?
The first 2 weeks were really hectic. It generated a lot of work for us in terms of communication, having to do change management in 2 weeks, something that perhaps normally would take 6 months. But overall, I am really pleased how we have done as an organization with the leadership of the management team and as an organization.
Elizabeth, I'd love you to tell us just briefly a little bit about yourself and then about your organization.
Okay, well, often people ask me where my accent is from, so it is originally from Poland. AMCS, it's a Multicultural Community Service charitable organization. We have changed over the years. Initially, we started with migrant settlement. And in the last 20 years, the bulk of what we do is really supporting ethnic seniors to help them live at home until the last day. We do some other things, but they are smaller components. So emergency relief, some adult education, and we do fantastic projects, including one of our signature projects, which is Moving for Life, where we're trying to encourage 2,000 ethnic seniors to do 30 minutes of exercises every day. And we're hoping to apply for a project called Digital Mentors for Ethnic Seniors. There are some ethnic communities where up to 60% of individuals do not use the internet. We actually have clients who do not even have a mobile phone, and they don't want to have a mobile phone. They don't believe they need it. We know that it has been difficult to cope for seniors. The level of fee is high. We have anecdotal evidence that perhaps the degree of fee is actually higher within ethnic communities, and particularly ethnic age communities. We assume that they don't have access to the same extent of information that's available to the general public because of language barriers.
How's your team been going with the transition to working from home?
The bulk of our workforce are lone workers. They are the direct care staff who actually work by themselves. They go from their homes to clients' homes. Yeah. And they just come to the office usually once a week for a meeting, or they pop in as required, of course. So in a way, working remotely for them, there's no change. What has changed is, I have to say, and that's been quite a sad part of observing that and also hearing their feedback, is the fear that they've experienced, the fear for themselves, but also fear about clients that they support and etc. We've been absolutely committed to supporting the direct care staff who are just so important in this sort of situation. And then there's the office administration. So normally we have about 53 staff who come to the office. Some work part-time, some work full-time. We had to arrange working from home within a week. We need to make sure that our services are reliable, that communication is smooth, and there's no decrease in quality, which is very, very important given that we are a professional service organization and we are a people organization. We support in any given week, we support about 2,000 clients. So I think for some staff, the novelty of working from home is wearing off. Some are asking to come back and we're not able to approve that. What's interesting is that those that are able to come in or need to, the smile that we get, it's almost as if someone was coming back from a long holiday, and they are so happy to be in the office. I did a video recording, a small clip of one of our direct care staff when she popped into the office last week, and I said to her, "How has it been for you?" And she started telling me about it, and I recorded it. I asked her, we have a 4-minute clip. I put it on our Facebook, and it was watched 10,500 times. It's so real and authentic, and she talks about the fear, but at the same time, the last thing she says is how lucky we are to be living in Australia. I very much look long term. I now know that we don't need 500 square meters that we're paying rent for. What I can see is really having a smaller office, still having the option of staff being able to pop in as required. I know some staff are very keen to continue to work from home. On reflection, I cannot see how we can go back to how we function. Not that it was wrong or it was inefficient. It's just that we have identified opportunities. We've put innovation in place that wasn't considered before. We have diversified services. We have extended our offerings. I have asked staff to think about innovation and what else we can do. And I think that doesn't just apply to AMCS. I think it applies to us as a society, to all organizations, the transformation that we've had to do. And I see that as a really positive.
Elizabeth, I've been talking to some organisations who have seen an increase in collaboration through this time and organisation to organisation engagement.
I am part of a national multicultural CEOs network. I will be participating this afternoon in a multicultural CEOs network here in Victoria. The Centre for Social Impact has just started a series of weekly webinars for the next 6 weeks. Imagine having 174 community service professionals participating in a joint effort to support each other, but share perspectives and look into the future. Overall, there have been some great messages and information coming through about flexibility from funding bodies. Nevertheless, we are still expected to meet targets. Some of the programs for us, for example, are challenging, where we ran a lot of group activities, and to provide support and still meet contractual targets is on one-to-one basis. It does help to have the right skills and expertise within the organization, or be able to get that from outside, from companies such as Blue Bike or others that specialize in particular fields. Communication, that's been really important. When 16th of March happened, for me that was the day, I communicated with staff every second day. And I wanted to make sure that, there was a message of reassurance. That was one. But second is what me and the management team were doing, what we were going to do during this situation, how we were preparing, what we were putting in place. There was a Q&A option. And after 2 weeks, there was no need to. Once a week, I still send an email. I'm available. I ring staff. Sometimes I describe myself as a practical migrant woman. This is what needs to happen. Some things is possible and some things are not. Does it mean that there's a reduction in salaries? Does it mean that it's reduction in cost? Does it mean that perhaps there's a reduction in office space? That we have had competition in the not-for-profit sector for a while. In fact, in home care, which is really our space and the area that we operate in, that's been for 3 years, and organizations needed to prepare and adjust. And those that haven't done that adequately and haven't had sustainable business models, well, a situation like this just amplifies this. I am optimistic that the future will be great despite the situation that has occurred. And I think if we learn from this and make our organizations better and more resilient, and do everything that we can, clearly we will have time to prepare a bit more now. We always have to maintain our optimism and envisage and imagine a very positive future.
Tell us an interesting personal story from AMCS's journey into these strange times. Something that's happened to staff or with a client that you're able to say on camera that puts a bit of personal colour into it.
There was, well, one that comes to mind. We have, those disinfectant wipes. Of course, became so precious because there was a shortage of them. And so we put one in our staff room, in our kitchen, and someone opened them not the right way, which means that they would have dried out. And we had to protect those disinfected wipes. I looked at them myself and I'm thinking, my goodness, 200 of them, and we need to keep them and we need to make sure that they are used just the right way, because we cannot get enough of them. So and I remember that we had to get a plastic box to put those wipes in. We had one of the most popular initiatives that we've done is entertainment packs for seniors. I think if we could provide 1 million of them, there would be enough interest. It's just so popular, so popular. So I was really glad that one of our staff came up with this idea, and we just continue to buy and assemble them, and there's no end. So our large meeting room has become like a warehouse, but I'm glad. And
that's brilliant.
We will continue absolutely with some of the great initiatives, and we've had a few of those. So it's been fascinating, and one of my managers said, well, it's been very busy with the HR area, but others as well. She said, but she used the word exhilarating, and so I think for me that just confirms that some of us really embrace change and can do it, which is good.
Thank you, Elizabeth, CEO at AMCS. It's been a pleasure to talk with you.